Hey everyone, it's John P. Today we're going to be going behind the lens and taking a closer look at the CIGA Design Blue Planet Gilding Edition. This is a watch that is going to be released on March 12th for the early bird release. There'll be a link in the description below where you can go to check it out both on the CIGA Design website as well as Amazon, Amazon.com. They're going to be offering fulfillment for both of those services so you can get the watch here in the United States as quickly as possible in other parts of the world, because if you've been following this channel or you've just been following watches for a while, you know that CIGA Design produces watches in China. Now, a decade ago, this would be considered, maybe not a place where you would find a luxury watch. Though, interestingly enough, in 2021, CIGA Design won the GPHG award in the challenge category for the best watch, which is in a price range of under 3,500 US dollars. They beat Oris, they beat many other brands, and it's a very interesting design that they came out with both in titanium and stainless steel with the Blue Planet Globe watch. It'll be a link in the description below where you can see my previous review, but now they have a 24 karat gilding edition with a very cool dial combination and ceramic case. So we're going to be going under the lens and taking a look at it for those of you that are interested. And I do want to say, if you do watch this channel, you've been around for a while, I don't take many watches in for review, almost none in fact. I did the previous CIGA Design as well as I'm very glad to be doing this one, but the reality is because they win the GPHG, it really gives them a lot of credibility. And for micro brands, there's so many of them out there. I've really, over the course of time, just chosen to not really chime in too much with micro brands because there's so many of them out there. But this one's a little bit different. They won an award, and they're from a place in the world where I think we're going to see a lot more higher end watches come out of and more people accept them. And I'm very excited about that. And certainly I'd like to commend the team over at CIGA Design. They emailed me and emailed me and emailed me, and I was just kind of busy with things at Delray Watch and other business endeavors, and they kept emailing about this particular watch. And eventually, I did see it, and I saw this long thread. So I was very impressed with their content team out there that really wanted to, send me this watch, and it came very quickly from China. So I will say, certainly the team over there has their things together, and that's, quite honestly, not something I've seen from the Swiss brands. A little bit different, but nonetheless, I think they really do deserve some commendations for that. So let's go ahead and let's flip over the camera, take a closer look, and then at the end of this video, we're going to get my thoughts and opinions on the watch as well. So here's the CIGA Design Blue Planet Gilding dial version with 24 karat gold gilded continents of the planet here. So this is very much like the Blue Planet that we saw in 2021 that won the GPHG award for the challenge category, which is essentially the best watch under 3,500 Swiss francs or 3,700 US dollars. This is going to be a lot like the same watch, though of course you'll notice right away the gilded or the gilding construction of the globe on the dial, as well as the indices on the markers in the outer ring. Now, interestingly enough, this dial takes 68 hours to create, which is going to be a lot more like you would see outside of the microbrand segment, though today you have microbrands such as this and several others that have focused more on the dial creation, which I really like to see. But that's not all. They also, in this 46 millimeter in diameter, 15 millimeters in height case, it's constructed in ceramic. So we have this black ceramic case that's going to make it extra scratch resistant, especially when compared with something like a PVD or a DLC coating on watches. That's historically what was used in order to provide this kind of blackened look. Now, something else I should mention here is because of the spherical nature of the globe, go figure, but as well as to achieve this depth that CIGA has not only in this, but also the previous Blue Planet model, they have an ultra domed sapphire crystal. Now what that means is because of the way that the sapphire crystal is domed, let's see if I can get you a close-up here. Because of the way that it's domed, it actually makes this watch incredibly difficult to photograph and video. It's more domed than pretty much every watch that I've seen with the exception of the Corum Bubble, but I really like it because, as you'll note, it does really increase that depth and the perception of depth here and add to the spherical nature of the globe, which I really like to see. It shows something a little bit extra. They really could have just put a flat crystal, but to produce dome sapphire crystals, it's a little more complicated than just a flat one. So I really like to see it, and I think it goes a long way. Of course, if we flip the watch over to the movement side, we're going to see a sufficiently decorated movement that's going to be pretty heavily modified from what is essentially, at least I'm speculating here, but it looks to be an ETA 2824 clone, perhaps one of the CIGA alternatives, or there's a couple of other manufacturers in Asia that produce the 2824 clones ever since essentially the patent of the architecture of these movements has run out. So there have been many different clones out there, but the architecture is the same, so it should be pretty reliable considering just the amount of years that they've used these types of architectures since the original creation of the movements for Meta. But nonetheless, of course, they are not too shy to mention the GPHG award, which they've won, and I think it's fair. We're talking about a manufacturer like this coming out of parts of the world where, maybe not as common for higher end watches. I think, it's very fair for them to be able to do that. Now, we'll also see that this watch is currently mounted on a rubber strap, which is actually quite nice, I'll admit. On the wrist, at least for me, I do feel that it's a really nice rubber strap. But in addition to this rubber strap, we'll notice that inside this box kit, so there is a box kit. We'll give you a better shot here of it in just a second. But inside the box kit, the watch also comes with a ceramic bracelet, right? So here we have a ceramic bracelet. This one is still fully stickered, but it's actually pretty nice quality. It's pretty nice quality, and you have the gold deployant clasp here, which I really like to see. They could have just put a stainless steel, just a plain stainless steel, untoned or uncolored clasp here, but they actually went the extra mile and they matched the whole gilding idea of this particular watch and matched the dial pattern or the dial color here with that clasp. So I think that's a nice touch. Overall, this bracelet that you can mount it on actually feels very nice. It's going to be ultra scratch resistant because, of course, it is ceramic, and that's something that I like to see. Whereas the previous Blue Planet watches, they did just come on a rubber strap, regardless of the material the case is made from. So this is what the box set looks like here. You'll see it comes shipped very similar to the previous Blue Planet here, except for of course, the outer packaging has this gilding effect on it. I think it's actually quite nice. The packaging is almost like you would get from like an iPhone or something like that. Certainly upscale packaging. It has, a bit of a book that goes inside the sleeve. You open it up, and then inside this you have all the documentation, some interesting tidbits about the watch, as well as the Earth, some facts. You have, of course, the ceramic bracelet, as well as some extra spring bars here with the quick release buttons, and the watch, which I have currently mounted on the rubber strap. But all in all, this is actually quite an amazing packaging design. I really think this is truly one of the best packaging I've seen in a watch, and certainly within this price point. Now, this watch uses a special system to tell time here. You'll notice the two outer rings on the watch. One of them is going to be for hours, and the other is going to be for minutes. And you'll also notice essentially the compass demarcation there at just the 2 o'clock, but I'll go ahead and pull the crown and start adjusting the time accordingly. But you'll notice that the Earth rotates, and that is going to be continuously rotating. Now, if you focus at, let's say, the 12 o'clock marker, you'll also see the minutes moving there. So if we look at where the compass is pointing, for example, now, it would say that the time is 3:20. And if we keep going on, now it would say the time is about 6 o'clock. So that's what 6 o'clock looks like. And we'll keep going just so we drive home the point here, because it does take a little bit of getting used to, but I actually really like the system. I think it's pretty cool, and it shows that, hey, they didn't just pop a stock movement in there, which I really appreciate from micro brands. And this would be the 12 o'clock there. And I know the Sapphire is quite domed for the camera here purposes, but that would be a 12 o'clock. So there we have it, the CIGA Design Blue Planet Gilding Edition. This watch is going to be available on March 12th for $1,899, $1,899 US dollars, or the equivalent of in your currency, wherever you may be. And you can find it on the CIGA Design website as well as Amazon. Now, my thoughts. Personally, I think the watch is very cool, right? When we're talking about interesting ways of keeping time and still being like a pretty nice watch, that's not something that you see too often at a price point like this. It's becoming more popular with more micro brands, but this is interesting in that they're actually including gold in the watch. And I find that a little bit fascinating. I do think it's very comfortable to wear. It's a larger case at 46 millimeters, but because it is a circle, it wears a little bit differently, right? Think something like an Icopod, the various Icopod models, and some of the other watches out there that have different shapes. A larger case doesn't always necessarily mean a hefty or chunky watch, and it's ceramic, so ultra scratch resistant. Now, who is this watch for? This watch is for someone that, one, likes the look, but two, wants something unique and interesting, maybe not as your everyday wear, because it is a little bit novel in terms of the way it keeps time, but interesting, unique in that you have the globe, and it's just something fun and quirky. This is something I personally enjoy. I like fun and quirky watches, all the way from Ellen Silberstein to Icopod, even to this. So I like to see it. I think it's cool, unique, in a different colorway, more modern, and kind of avant-garde compared to their previous Blue Planet release. Now, the only caveat I will make with this is, the movement, the exact movement components are not clearly defined on the website, and they're not clearly defined in any of the literature that I've seen, though it does look like, especially with the way that they have this proprietary time-telling system, that regardless of the movement they use, which is likely a clone, they did put a lot of work, attention to detail into actually re-engineering it to be able to keep time like this and still have sufficient power to do so. This involves discs and heavier discs, which are much heavier than something just like a small watch hand, which takes more power, it puts more stress on the watch. So I think it's actually pretty cool what they've done it in a part of the world where you don't see a ton of this, but increasingly you do. And once again, I think this is another great job in this Blue Planet series from CIGA. Link in the description below. Guys, please do not forget to thumbs up, like, and subscribe. I do appreciate it. We'll see you next time. You've been chatting with John P.